Hello and welcome to the Disc Dungeon, in a special Dove Dive, where I am put onto the musics and melodies from the deepest, darkest depths of your computer disc. I'm the host of this particular Dove Dive, Joe Dove, and you're listening to the Disc Dungeon. What's up, everybody? Joe Dove back again in the depths of the Disc Dungeon. It's actually quite dark where I am now because I am doing something a little different. I've been noticing a lot of folks have been putting this Audio Technica thing on that matches my voice or, beats if it's music. So I figured I'd give it a whirl. I want you to let me know what you think. Let your friends know. Let your kids know. Let your enemies know too. Anyway, so as you know, I've been opening up the realms of the dungeon to accept being put on to music from people around the world. So it is without coincidence that I've been put on to a Canadian musician in Robotaki. I'm going to dive deep into the histories and bits about this wonderful gentleman from Canada. It also happens to be where my cousins are from, so big shout out to cousin Roy. I hope he listens. And ironically, my cousin Kayla from New Hampshire is not the person that put me onto this band. This is from the open forums of the social medias. So if you're on Vero or Clapper or TikTok or Instagram, look up Disc Dungeon or To Be Seen, and I will listen to the music that you like and we'll check it out. I've got another 3 artists for this first Dove Dive foray. We'll see where we go from there. Anyway, Robotaki. All right, this is a DJ from Canada, much like fellow countryman The Weeknd. He has a profound blend of synth and soul. Some of the music that I discovered had such a finesse about it that I was really digging it. I'm going to jump into the album Anachronism, an EP that I just fell in love with. There's a lot of music out there. Robotaki is of Asian heritage. His real name is Preston Anthony Chin. So happy Asian American Heritage Month, or just Asian Heritage Month. Either way, hopefully it's happy for you. Much respect to the wondrous Asian community. I have spent 20 years in the apparel industry as a 9-to-5, and my constant contact for production has been folks from Asia, and I have great respect for them all. So God bless you all. So Robotaki's debut song dropped in 2016, which was a rough year, as you know, especially for pre-COVID. He dropped a song called Ghost Boy, which featured Claire Wrigley. It dropped off from the Majestic Casual Records, which is really a cool title for a record company, but I digress. The song received international acclaim on major streaming platforms and peaked at 5th on the viral charts of the United States, the United Kingdom, and Germany. He remixed a lot of songs of your favorites. Derazzled by Daft Punk, You Can Dance by Chili Gonzalez, I'm on Fire by AWOL Nation, and I Wish by Haley Kiyoko. All of which I highly recommend to listen, because I ended up listening on my own despite being mainly focused on his particular album. I wanted to see what he did on the outside spectrum of his own work, and he has done amazing remixes, so I highly recommend you listen to all of these. He's a brilliant guy. He has a master's degree in genetics from McGill University. And he ended up becoming a DJ. I tell you, we never end up doing what we study for, So the reason why he calls himself Robotaki is it's a grilled food of Japan, more comfortably known as Robotaki. So it's a very play on the words. And I wonder if my friends over at Belly of the Beast podcast have ever dined on such wondrous delights of Robotaki. I'm going to have to... If you're a foodie, I highly recommend you check out Belly of the Beast. And if you're into music and learning more about musicians and music groups, check out the rest of my podcast, my last week's work on the Dove Dive, the first ever. Talked about Lord Huron, and I've got a lot of great work with musician and singer Julian Valencia on the main podcast, which we will return to at some time. Best of luck to him and the Audios group. All right, it's time to dive. I am doing my second ever Dove Dive, and it's time for the Dove diving itself into the EP Anachronism. Let's dive into the album's highlights, shall we? Well, you know what? There's not too many tracks on this, so let's just go on to the whole EP. You know, my absolute love of synth music continues with this gem of a put-on. The soothing riffs and soft voices over this album was like getting a gift from above. Sadly, there are only 6 songs, but after all, this is an EP. So I'm going to get into the first song, All I Can Do. So Robotaki himself says, this is a song I wrote about finally coming to terms with the end of a relationship and saying goodbye to being a part of myself that kept holding on to the past. Sometimes you just get so attached to the way you were with someone that when it's suddenly over, you start asking questions that ultimately don't have answers. Or at least not the ones you're looking for. Just move on. It's all you can do. In any case, I hope that you enjoy this song. This is the first collaboration that he did with Foreign Family Collective. And as is stated in the lyrics, don't think of things we used to do when we knew each other. Why bother? That's stupid. Arrow stuck inside my heart is holding no longer. Only 'cause that's all I can do. That's all I can do. I picked up all the pieces of myself up and all the things that you left behind and nearly lost my mind. I know you didn't mean it, but I couldn't see it any other way that day. It's not really a slow song, but it's a really techno love song, a mending, so to speak. I rely it akin to the Sun and Moon song from Above and Beyond, though that's more of a dance heavy. This is more of like a lounge song, something to just kind of drift, sit on your bed, look up at the design of the paint on your ceiling, and try to forget about the love you lost. The beat texts that he always puts on are quite interesting, and that synth layer is always compelling, mainly because it's the best way to correlate to a daydream. So we're moving on to Meant to Be. He said, Meant to Be is a track that he wrote about all the people I've seen on the edge of either starting a relationship or ending one. As a stubborn overthinker myself, I've been on both sides of this. And in either situation, I have always overly complicated things for myself. There's a lot of unnecessary noise when you're consistently wondering whether a person is the right one for you. This song is a reminder to just let things happen. Enjoy the moments you share with others and be free. I feel like this guy's master degree comes into blocking a lot of his love, because when you overthink things in a relationship, it's kind of hard to let it flourish. And the more brilliant you are, the more you think about things. And I think this is the perfect case in point. Oh, he must have experienced a lot of different lovers, so to speak, because right off the bat, 2 of the songs are just kind of tapping into that world. And by far, this is the most upbeat track on the EP. It's almost got a little bit of funky in the background, pop in that bass. By far, this is the most upbeat song on the EP. It's a lot of fun. We're meant to be free. It's got some great lyrics that can, correlate with love. But it's got a really dope tone of that bass and drum kit that you absolutely love. It's almost reminiscent of Ghost Boy. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of mystery too, because the lyrics that are often lost when some of the music is so good, you're just focused on the beat and the overall tones that are just vibing in your brain and bouncing around in your ear canal to the drum. But when you go back and listen to it a second time and you try to figure out the lyrics, then you end up just going to Genius and Googling the lyrics on genius.com. And I'm just going to read a couple of them. My hands are tied behind the back. I've got no room to move at all. All this fighting is so meaningless. You back me up against the wall. Woo! It isn't hard to see. I can't be only me. This life we're living can't always be what we wanted. You've got to come and trust me now. We're meant to be free. We're just meant to be. Don't mean to be free, just meant to be. Just meant to be. To me, this song is like a technological awakening in music, perfect for that newfound AI relationship, to be confused by love and dance. Since they are held up by the constraints of a phone, much like we are bound to the use of an app to find love these days, I feel that there's so much layered into this song. It's kind of like a note from the future. Very fun, very cool, highly recommend it. If you're not busy, go and dive into this. The next track that I listened to is called Beaches, and that one was with Wonderlust. And as Julian would say, it's a total bop. Something special happens when you combine extremely talented musicians. This sounds like a perfect track for a future light dance in dark night streets in a glowing city. The drum track just hits as if there was a magic emanating from the hands of the DJ and the producer compiling this masterwork. Not much on lyrics here, but the unaudible is often its own type of lyric. It adds so many flavors and layers to this listening experience. And what else is cool about Robotaki and Wonderlust is just when you think that you've got pretty much a looping track, it flips on you, and then the whole song becomes something even better. It's an absolute blend between the two and an absolute masterpiece. I highly recommend it. It's sort of the ultimate groove song. You get thrusted into a throw of a soft drum beat that echoes and reminisces with the wondrous synth of the synthesizer that brings you into this mood. It's a mood setter. It's a proper way to set up Moonside, the track that I'm referring to here. Puts you, I want to say, on a couch looking at a lava lamp. I know a lot of folks, when you mention lava lamp, it has some type of drug annotation, but for me, it's simply just looking at something move while music kind of soothes you after a rough day. This is the perfect track for that, and I absolutely adored it. And we're going to round this one out with Snow Angel. I got to tell you, the last song is probably the most played song for me on this EP. The code scat backdrop of vocals, the soft, searing, sensual track is just perfect for you to connect with the artist. Maybe even your memories. Deep dive into your own past. But the amazing thing that Robotaki can do is just introduce you to yourself. A reflection from the lyrics or just the music itself allows you to thrust yourself in your brain and kind of unpiece the puzzle that is your life. It's just the melody flips right in the center and the feet just bounce with the drop. Again, Robotaki is ahead of the mix and just carries you off into a blissful calm that is perfect, and it's what music was created for. Sometimes music is something that should set you up for that moment in your life that's going to be an altering of your future. That moment in your life that's come with chaos and fear that you need to be prepared for. And sometimes music is like this, that moment in your life where you just need to relax because you've got the swells of the world rested on your shoulder. You've got the weight of the world leaning on your back, and you've got so much bogging you down that you don't really find time to just take time to be you and just to be free. Well, this is a short dove dive because this EP was 6 tracks and some of them were under 3 minutes, but I loved every minute and every track on this EP. I highly recommend you take a chance with Robotaki and definitely try to grab the food. I'm going to try to grab a Robotaki dish from the creation of this guy's name in New York City. I want to just thank all of you who are listening. A big shout out to my boy AJ Orsini. If you don't know, AJ Orsini is a podcaster that I've often spent time on his podcast talking about wrestling and current events. And I highly recommend you jump over there and take a listen. Hive Mind Radio if you're on Twitch. Some of my friends are doing so many wondrous things, and I am super excited to be a part of their growth and their world moving forward. If you enjoyed this podcast, please do me a favor. Subscribe and rate me on iTunes. The thing about iTunes is if you don't go back and rate it again, it sometimes disappears. I don't know what's going on there, but it would mean a lot if you did. Let me know what you think. Tell your friends and family. Check me out on tobeseen.com or on the insertmedia.co/tobeseen page, where we share our new show, Alternative Angle, which is another look on some anime. I've got the amazing Alicia, who's hosting that show, and we are in a collaborative sense with that. And she is also on Belly of the Beast with my man Brandon Liu, who is the amazing host of Comic Conversation, which you can find on Tubi Scene. And I hope you check out everything there, as well as the other things I've done with Julian, the first ever Dove Dive, and coming out 2 weeks from today, Mary Bowers putting me on to V&V Nation. Okay, Mary, let's get industrial together. All right. I do enjoy industrial music. I hope it's like Front 242 and Fear Factory, so this is going to be a lot of fun. Let's see what you're putting me on to, Mary. All right, friends, this is Joe Dove signing off. I will be speaking to you soon. It'll be 2 weeks from today, and we'll be dropping the next Dove Dive. And if you want to put me on to some music, don't forget to follow me on TikTok, Instagram. You can catch Clapper, that new app that people are talking about. I am to be seen there, the number 2, BESCENE. You can catch me on tobeseen.com and just advise somebody that should I listen to, or on Facebook, Disc Dungeon, DISK Dungeon, and we will just listen to your music. I can't wait to hear it. I love music. It doesn't matter the genre. I'm a very jovial man. I enjoy being kind. And even if I don't like it, I'll find something good. I promise.